Howdy, it's me, Luna. I'm back with another installment to my art archive project. This has been a labor of love for a couple years now, and I'm very excited to finally have it finished. It is some fan art that I created for a show called Acquisitions Incorporated, the C-Team, which you can find on YouTube and listen to the podcast on Spotify. It's a Dungeons and Dragons show because I love Dungeons and Dragons and I love the show, and I had to do this in my life. So I started this project just after they finished season 1. They're on season 4 right now. Once season 1 was finished, I rewatched season 1 like 5 times just to make sure I got every little bit of information that I wanted into this house. And so then I started building. Right after that. I gotten everything ready, and I absolutely hated what I created. So I scrapped it all, deleted it all, and gave up for a really long time. And then just after they started season 3, actually, I decided to go back and start on it again, and I streamed it. So I ended up with videos of it. So if you want to watch those videos, they're on my YouTube channel. If you want to watch the entire creation process, I also have a fast motion version, so you can watch the creation process in less than 30 minutes instead of 113 hours, which is what it originally took me. So without further ado, first of all, I should say, if you have not seen the show and it sounds interesting, go watch it before you watch this, because there will be spoilers for season 1. I tried to make sure not to put anything from the season 2 or season 3 in here. Even in my videos, if you watch the making of it videos, I tried to stay away from mentioning too many spoilers, if any. I worked really, really hard. So it's only season 1 that's spoiled. But hopefully this will pique your interest and you'll want to go check the show out because it's awesome. And I love it. So, and P.S. because I've been working on this hardcore, trying to get this done finally. I have not watched season 4 yet, so don't tell me any spoilers from season 4, please. Okay, so first of all, as you can see, we're at the front door here, and this is Onyx. Onyx is a cat in the show. She lives in the Dran and Courtier. The Dran and Courtier is like their home base. But Onyx has to sit right here at the front door because she is a pet and not a plushie, and she will fall through the floor in literally every other spot in this entire house except for right here at the front door, which is flat on the floor. That's why there's steps here, because I had to have it raised up because of the house I used, but I had to put one spot where you could be, where you don't sink through the floor. All right, so this is it. Ignore the lighting. The lighting gets really weird. I don't know why. It's only in this spot that the lighting gets this super weird, this whole front area. But yeah, so this is the Dran and Courtier. So I used a map that was on the C-Team, the Acquisitions Incorporated, the C-Team not Wikipedia, wiki, and I'm not entirely certain if that's an actual map, because when you listen to season 1, the way he described, Jerry Holkins describes what the Dran and Courtier looks like, it doesn't match the map, but the map was the only thing I had to go by because I could not figure out for the life of me how to build this house just by what was described in season 1. So anyways, so we're going to start off with looking at this book. So this just kind of tells you about what's going on. Spoiler alert. I want to make sure everybody knows that. I don't like spoiling things for people. This house is built in tribute to the Dungeons and Dragons show Acquisitions Incorporated, the C-Team. There are spoilers for season 1 only. If you have never seen the C-Team, you should really go and watch it. Otherwise, you are not going to get most of the jokes. This show is the most funniest show ever. Anyways, and Easter eggs. You can catch the C-Team live on Twitch Wednesdays from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Penny Arcade channel. Also, find it on YouTube on the Penny Arcade TV channel, or listen to the podcast on Spotify under Acquisitions Incorporated, the C-Team. So make sure your torches are out, which I have to turn off mine. Okay. If you don't like swearing or cussing, then please do not read any of the books or signs, because we cuss a lot around here. Okay. Dang it. So then I have their rap, which they start off every show with this rap. I'm not going to rap it. I already did many, many times in the process of building this. So you may read it. You can pause it and read what it says. So there it is. And there's the last part. And then this is how Jerry Holkins starts off every single D&D session that they have, every single game. This is what he says, and introduces the characters. So I'm going to go ahead and read this because I love it. It says, "Hello, I'm Tycho Brahe of Penny Arcade and PAX. I am also Ominifus Hereward Dran, CEO of Acquisitions Incorporated. But today, I am Jerry Holkins, and I am here to play a game of Dungeons and Dragons for my friends. To my right, Dragonborn Narcissist Dinar Blitz," and then you're supposed to clap. Make sure you clap. Don't forget to clap. It's important, okay? And then, to the right of my right, repping the natural world, Walnut Dawngrass, and I'm going to do her season 1, which is how woo, okay? But we're in there's different things now, okay? Let's just put it that way. To my left, not your grandma's grandma, except in those rare cases when she is your grandma's grandma, Rosie B. Stinger. And finally, to the left of my left, emerging as though from a mist shroud, Cthulhu Draub, okay? So that's what he starts off every single one. Here's some raps that Jerry Holkins wrote about each character. You can read through those. And then some memorable moments also from season 1. Obviously, this is not all of the memorable moments. This is just some of them. So go ahead and pause, and you can read through those. Okay. All right, moving on. Generous front window. That's one description that was given for the Dran and Courtier. So I got that. This is supposed to be Red Larch out there, even though we all know it's Kinos, but don't tell anybody, okay? It's Red Larch. Okay. So a nice, cozy interior, small stage with a stool for people to play at. All right. And, of course, the bar, which is very important. So the bar is well stocked, and this is Prophetess Dran, Omen's mother, actually. So there she is. And she runs the bar. She runs the Dran and Courtier. So she is bald, yes, she's described as having short, very, very short cropped hair, but guess what? They don't have that in EverQuest for elves. So they don't have that option, so she had to just be bald. So yes, she's supposed to be bald. She's supposed to have shorter cropped hair, but that's the best I could do. So I tried to pick her outfit. Like, she's described as a woman who looks like she's always ready for battle, so I wanted to make sure she was in full armor. I didn't know exactly what color armor or anything that I should do. So I just figured that this looked nice and it seemed to match, and that's what we went with. So we have a nice stocked, lots of cups and things. I have a little sign down here. This is an Easter egg. If you've never seen the show, you won't get it. But it says, "Imagine a dark bottle." Because it's very, very dark bottle down there. Okay. All right. Going back here. Now, this is part that I relied very heavily on the map for. This room in particular is never really described or that it even exists. So I'm not really sure. I just used the map. But it's just kind of a stock room. It's got a nice little warming, keep the place warm, heater. Got lots of cups and plates and bowls and all the food stuffs over here. Trying to get it in pans and just extra things. Just kind of a prep room, but also like a storage room kind of area. And then the kitchen, which is described as being very, very small. I know when Dinar is in here, because he's a dragonborn, he knocks everything over all the time, and it's fantastic. But it's perfect for Rosie, the little halfling. This trap door is something I got off the map. I don't know if I've never heard them talk about a trap door in the kitchen, but it was on the map, so I put it there. So yeah, just a small little kitchen. The most important part of the kitchen is a Cornerstone Pan. Yep. So Cornerstones was a pastry that was created in season 1 of the C Team, and they sound delicious, and it was so important I had to add it to here. So yep, there's our Cornerstone pan and the Cornerstone stick to be able to flip them. Okay, so come out here, and we're back at the bar. Yeah. So moving on, we're saving that corner over there for last. Okay, but so this was something that wasn't on the map. This next thing that we're going to go into, it's not on the map, but it's very important, and that's the Carriage House. I don't know why there was no, I mean, I could have been reading the map wrong too. I'm not really sure. But the Carriage House is one of the most important scenes from season 1, so I had to add it in there. So their carriage in Dungeons and Wagons, the excursion that they went on for one of their quests that they had to do, and they came across this wagon, this wagon, and they ended up keeping it, even though it's gothic and gaudy and fan-frickin-tastic, and I love it so much. So that's the carriage. I'll read the signs in just a second. So the Carriage House was a hot mess, and they had to clean it in season 1, and so it's still kind of a hot mess, but at least Coriander can get in here. So Coriander is a special horse. She had to drink a health potion, in quotes. We're not really sure what it was, but it turned her into some sort of weird metal plant horse style pole creature. I don't know. Anyways, she's really cool. I love Coriander. So she eats gold coins. So here's a bucket of gold coins for her. Ignore the unicorn horn, because that was my only option in EverQuest, was to use a frickin' unicorn, but she's not a unicorn. She is a horse style pole creature. So there we go. So she's eating her gold coins, and she's so happy, and I love Coriander. So hot mess. So out here I decided to put it out here, even though it's described as being thrown out back. But there is a couple episodes where the C Team drinks some interesting alcohol that, anyways, you'll just have to watch it. It's fucking amazing. But if you've seen the show, you'll get this reference. We are Joy. Okay. And the mushrooms. All right. So there you go. Oh, the signs. So it says, Rip Catapult lost during the trip to Scala, and up here, Rip the spoiler, like an actual spoiler on a car, lost during this escape from Nemazir. So yep, I was gonna put those on the cart, but I didn't because they were lost during season 1. And there is supposed to be an owl and a cat. These are all fake, statues, and an orb, and dancing lights underneath. But all of that stuff. I have an owl that I could have used, but there's nowhere to put it on this cart because you can't get inside the cart. So it just wasn't worth it. Okay, so moving on. Again, we're skipping what's over here in this corner for last. So one thing that's described in the C Team house is that there is a fireplace, and there's green flame in the fireplace. So I got my green flame. There's cauldron chairs, is what he describes, out in front of it. This was the best I could do for cauldron chairs. I don't know what cauldron chairs means, but these look like round, so it works, right? And then above the fireplace is a portrait of Omen Dran with his 2 sisters. And for the life of me, I'm not going to be able to think of their names. I know one of them is Portentia. Okay. I know that. I can't tell you what the other one's name is right now. I forgot to look that up before I started. But I had to use house actors, so they're kind of standing away, but when you look on it head on, it looks like a portrait. Best I could do in EverQuest form. Okay. So there we go. We got, so that's Prophetess Dran, Prophet's 3 children right there. So Prophet is married. Her wife, Audra Courtier, is not around all the time, and I'm assuming that this would be Prophet's room. On the map, it doesn't really say that I used. And again, that's something that's also not really ever described, except for maybe once, I think. So this is Prophet's room. main things to note in here is that Audra is a bard. Audra, her wife. So I tried to make an Audra picture. I figured like this would be like a painting of Audra because she's got her little lute. But it was a pain in the ass because this is what the whole painting looks like. And I had to cover up everything else and just have Audra on there. And then of course I have an extra lute just lying around for when Audra comes home and she's not out traveling and all that jazz. Okay, so that's basically the entirety of the downstairs, except for what's going on in the corner over there. We'll save that for last. So heading upstairs. Now, this was something that I took a little bit of creative license for, and that was having the C-Team logo. Whoops, get out of the rafters. The C-Team logo and the Acquisitions Incorporated logo up here. There was just this big expanse of nothingness up here, and I figured it needed something. And so that's what we made. So over on this side is where the C-Team rooms are. And over here is just where the regular guest rooms are inside the inn. So the guest rooms are to scale. I made them exactly. I followed the map as best as I could to like create and make them the right size. The CT rooms are all kinds of crazy. Like they don't make any sense over there for like as far as like structure wise, but it had to be done because their rooms of course had to have more stuff in them. So let's start over here. Going to the first room, they're just small rooms. I just put in each room there's a rug, a chest, a bedside table, and a bed. And then I'm sure Profa would bring up candles and stuff like that for whenever somebody is staying. And then I just made a window best I could. There's not much that you can do with windows unless you want to build a whole scene outside of the window. So we come through here, and so each of the set of 4 rooms, so the C-Team has this too, where they have like a little office or common room. So for the guests, I gave them a nice, spacious, just a relaxing common room where guests can come and just hang out and, you know, whatnot also. Yeah, with a nice burning fire, nice and warm, cozy. You go through this door and you'll be in another room. Again, just simple, simple, simple. Come out here, whoops, and we're back out in the main hall. Down here is room number 3. Simple, simple, simple. I basically just went through Rat Bill's storage dungeon, and just took any beds, rugs, and crates that were just lying around and made them work. So, so that room led us back into here. Each room has a door into the main hall, and each room has a door into the office back here. And then, so last but not least, is this room, and a little sign here that says, "Why not a long rest?" Right? Why not a long rest? So I realized after I built this room, and we're going to go into Walnut's room next. But when I was building Walnut's room, I realized that I have to have the awning. Her window needs to be able to see through, and I needed to have the roof out there so that because she likes to crawl out on the roof and just sit out there. And that's canon, and that's important, and I needed it. But then I realized that Walnut's window and this window would actually, or should actually, look at each other. You should be able to see Walnut's room from here and vice versa. But because of how I ended up having to map out the C-Team's rooms, there was no way that I would be able to see into this room or whatever, because it's so far off, like the juxtapositioning is off. So I'll show you what I did. So for Walnut's room, really the only descriptions that we get a lot more descriptions for Walnut's room than we do for a lot of the others. She says that it looks like a swamp. She doesn't use the bed. She sleeps in like a pile of nesting bunch on the floor. She is the documancer in season 1, so she is obsessed with parchment and quills and documents and writing and all that jazz. And other things I'll show you. So anyways, so that's what I tried to do. I tried to just make a fucking swamp. And of course, I had to have the rainbow, the pride rainbow in the back. All right. So this is the window. I made the roof so she should come out. She could come out. But what I had to do was create a mock room of that other room. And if you slowly move over, you can just barely see the other window over there with the bed in it, which is not actually the real room. It's just a mock thing that I threw up quick just to be able to get this window in here. So over here, let's start on this side of the room and just go around because there's a lot of stuff in here. So this is the wizard cup that Walnut won in the Gymterlude. Okay, and it says Wizard Cart first place Walnut Dongrass. All right, that was the most coolest episode ever, and you need to watch it for real. This potion does random things. It's fantastic, and I love it. Next, we come over to Walnut's, where Walnut sleeps, and in the final episodes of season 1, Rosie gets a little crazy. She gets possessed by some cursed gold and starts spewing not so nice things to her friends. And so afterwards she makes apology pillows for all of them, and Walnut's, she was very sorry for calling Walnut, what did she call her? A horny elf with daddy issues. It says, my dearest Walnut, it is with deepest sorrow that I, and it trails off into, she just sews this big long thing for Walnut to apologize for that. So coming over here, this is one thing that is listed, that is definitely in her room, is her framed copy of her contract, or at least I should say it's in her room in season 1. Framed copy of her contract with Acquisitions Incorporated, or her acceptance letter. And it says, Walnut Dongrass of the Enclave Panax Anima, member in good standing, Acquisitions Incorporated, Omen Drawn. So that's very important. I had to add that for sure. Okay. And there's a loose floorboard in Walnut's room, and inside she keeps like treasures and things like that. But one of the main things she keeps in season 1 is a note from Brahma, her on-again, off-again girlfriend in the first season. Okay, and the note from Brahma says, I want to seize you as prey is seized. 2 animals, my teeth are on your neck. I love it. I love the love story between Brahma and Walnut. It's one of my favorites. Okay, so I built Walnut a desk. Like everything else is like this swamp and crazy bugs everywhere. But the desk I wanted to make very, very pristine. Like all her quills and parchment is all just in pristine order, and because that's just Walnut. But so this is Walnut's book. And I'm not going to read everything here, but I will read these first couple of pages. So name, Walnut Dongrass. The K is silent. Race is Wood Elf. Class Druid. Occupation is Documancer. And she's played by Amy Falcone. All right, so season 1 Walnut is trying to come to grips with the fact that her home, the all-female Enclave Panax Anima, has been destroyed. She loves all things natural, but for some reason is obsessed with Acquisitions Incorporated and Omen Drawn. She is very good at being the group's documancer, although she is very messy and dirty. She keeps her quills and parchment in pristine condition. Her special move is Forest Friends, which allows her to call a group of any creature around to aid her in some way. However, they seem to keep dying for some reason. She's a great druid, okay? Promise. She can wild shape into various forms, including, in season 1, mind you, a weasel named Sweet Wheezy, a bear, honey nut, wolf nut, spider, silk nut, crocodile, croconut, elk nut, and a treant, a form given to her from her green glass scimitar named Foremother. Okay. In season 1, she is in an on-again, off-again relationship with the mysterious and beautiful bard, Brahma Ludia. All right, so now the next one's is just some memorable quotes. Some, like, if I laughed until I cried, that's what got into this book. Okay, so you can pause it and you can read through it and just see some of the funny shit that Amy Falcone says. So there we go. God. I'm just barely looking through them just now, and I'm already laughing. So these are some of her wild shapes from season 1. I tried to put every single wild shape that she could shape into. So we got the Trent, the elk, the bear, the wolf, the crocodile, and the spider. However, we are missing one key player, my favorite of all of her wild shapes, Sweet Wheezy. However, Sweet Wheezy is not featured because apparently weasels are not impressive in EQ2. Okay, so yeah, there are no weasels. There's a hairless rat thing. I almost used that, but it's a pet. It would fall through the floor. I can only use plushies. So unfortunately, that's not listed, but everybody else is there. And I stuck with a red spider and a red crocodile because Walnut wears red. That's her armor color. So I figured that was perfect. All right. So moving on, I think through this door is their office. I think we're going to go around and go through the front door of Rosie's room. Now, I may have the rooms. There's a specific order that, like, it's canon what rooms each one sleeps in, but I think I changed it a little bit. I put Walnut on this end because she had to have the window. That was important. And I put Cathris down at the other end because it's a very dark room because of the way the original house is. So I figured he needed the darkness, and he does not have a window even though he's supposed to. Anyways, we'll get in there. So Rosie's room. Now, Rosie's room, there's not a lot of direction, not really a lot told about what's going on in Rosie's room. We know that it's very neat and tidy and like very grandmothery. And, yeah, I mean, really that's it. We know that she's sewing in here because she made the pillows. Oh, I should have had a stack of letters underneath her bed, but that might not have been season 1. That might have been season 2. Oh, well. Anyways, I digress. I think I'm trying to think. Yeah, I really don't think there's really much other than that said about Rosie's room. So I built a rug with stars on it. Over here I have, this is her jar of eyeballs. Okay. The jar of eyeballs is very important. Okay. Just, she usually carries it on her in season 1, but I put it up in her bedroom because it's ginormous. So there we go. Her jar of eyeballs. That's important. So she's the cartographer. That means that she's the map person. She gets them where they need to go. And so I have maps everywhere in here. I have a little place for her to do her sewing over here. And this is a picture of the Homeward Star, which is a constellation that Rosie and her halfling family uses to always find their way home. And it's very important in all of the seasons. The Homeward Star is important, okay? Anyway, so there it is. Another map. Come over here. Again, we have that glitch. I don't know what that lighting glitch is. So her desk, I have some more maps and things just kind of thrown about. All these are maps, and I created a character named Rosie B. Stinger so that I can make sure that they say Map of Waterdeep by Rosie B. Stinger, North Road map, map of the map to Doomgate Inn, map of Red Larch, and Path of the Wandering Crypt. Okay, so those are all important maps that she's had in the show. And then this is Rosie's book. So I'll go ahead and do just like I did with Walnuts. Name, Rosie B. Stinger. Race, halfling. Class, monk. Occupation, cartographer. And played by Kate Welch. Okay. In season 1, Rosie's backstory remains very mysterious for the most part. We know she learned her shadow monk abilities from a monastery and that she has a lot of children. Okay. It's not really explained in season 1 fully where all these children are coming from. We meet Drebus B. Stinger, Rosie's half-orc son, played by Patrick Rothfuss, on their way home from the Raiding Must Cease quest. That's what the quest was called, the Raiding Must Cease Dungeons and Wagons, when they got their wagon. All right. During the test market, we learn about the Homeward Star, a constellation taught to her by her family as a way to always know... Oh, whoops. I have that doubled. I have to fix that. No, which way is home? When they are on their way to the Doomgate Inn, Rosie notices that the homeward star is broken and one of the stars has turned red. As a monk, Rosie oftentimes does some monk shit and deals incredible amounts of damage to enemies, especially to those haunch regions. Her weapon is a simple bow staff at first, but she finds the staff of the master later. Rosie's pastimes include writing letters to her children, cross-stitching, and an ungodly amount of alcohol consumption, and sleeping with just about anything, which includes an attempt with a female bipedal owlbear named Bleth. Okay? I fucking love Rosie. I can't even. All right. Next. So these are some of the memorable quotes. Again, just like Walnut, you can pause and read through those if you would like. All right. So there we go. So that's Rosie's book. So I had to. The ship's wheel is an homage to her family. I had to add in. Got the bee stinger logo here. I had to add in some kinky straps on the bed here. That's important for Rosie, okay? Cute little grandma, beautiful knitting corner room. Kinky. There we go. That describes Rosie in like 3 seconds. That's awesome. So last but not least, I did do this. So I got the homeward star constellation up here on the ceiling with the one red star that had turned red on their way to the Doomgate Inn. So, and Rosie lost her shit because her homeward star is broken, and it was very crazy. So there we go. Next, I think we're gonna go into the office now. Okay, so the other side, the office was like big and nice and had a thing. In this side, it's described as an absurdly small office. So I made it, and I made it small, and then I made it smaller after the fact. So, and all it says that's in it is a table. It's supposed to be round, but I couldn't find a round table I liked. A candle. And a shelf to put anything that they've earned and like different cool things that they find on their adventures, which is never specified that they ever actually do. So I left it blank. One thing I did put in here, and I can't for the life of me remember if this is canon or not, but they received a statue as payment after the Raiding Must Cease quest that they did. And I put it in this office because I think this is where they put it, came in here and took up a whole bunch of space. So I did. I built this statue. This statue is glorious. So it has, golly, it'll say, anyways. It says, the victory of Harvin Dardragon over the vile rogue Pragma Cleft. So we have Harvin Dardragon. I picked this statue specifically because he has such a nice ass. And here's poor Pragma Cleft being crushed by a butt statue, which, yeah. Anyways, so there we go. That's the best statue in the world. So we come through this door, and we are in Dinar's room. So once again, Dinar's room there's a few things described, but it's not a lot. So a lot of these rooms I just took creative liberty for and just added stuff in. The main thing that's told in Dinar's room is that his bed is broken. So I had to build a broken bed in here and then build a comforter over it to cover up all the brokenness. So yes, so his bed is broken. That's the one main thing that is described about Dinar's room in season 1. And he of course has a pillow from Rosie, which just says, "You are not a baby." She called him an idiot baby, but she apologized for calling him a baby, but not an idiot. I love that. So just some things that I added in. This bush over here is Dinar's sex bush. So when he uses lay on hands on himself, he goes into his bush and just kind of touches himself all over and heals himself, and it's his sex bush. Okay, so there we go. We have Clarkmore. Clarkmore is his celestial reindeer mount that he uses. So this was the best I could do. That it's supposed to look like star stuff, but the ice deer looked better than the star stuffed deer that EverQuest has. So Dinar's one of Dinar's things that he can do is his acid breath. You know how dragons have like a fire breath weapon? His is acid. And so I made a fountain, an homage with vomiting acid breath fountain. Is to kind of just show off Dinar's thing. Okay. And then over here I have a little, let's do the desk glass. Let's go over here. So Dinar is he likes to be clean. He likes his scales scrubbed, and he always carries his toothbrush, Percival. Okay, so his toothbrush is named Percival. So of course I had to make the toothbrush. We don't have toothbrushes in EverQuest, but there you go. So that's how you make a toothbrush. And over here we have his desk. Now, I made a book for him also, but I had to make two because, oh my God, I had so many quotes from Ryan Hartman. Yeah, it kind of fits Dinar to have two books where everybody else only gets one. But I also did, now none of these other books have things written in them, but just for the titles. So this is just some stuff that happened to Dinar through the course of season 1. So I have Proper Eggy Care, the do's and don'ts. Cappy, the mushroom, the myth, the legend. How to survive in the Shadow Realm for 60 years. How to properly care for a sex bush. The Lost Art of Marrying Doors. And What Do You Do When Your Grandma Pimps You Out to the Shadow Realm for 60 Years by Dinar Bloodshed. Okay, so yeah, it was a good season. Oh my God. And then this is Eggy, who was a platinum dragonborn egg that they found during the Raiding Must Cease quest. And Dinar took care of her until she had to go back with her mother and be raised by her actual mother. So this is a picture of Eggy, the best I could do. So Dinar's books, I'll read this first part again. Name, Dinar Blitzen. Race, Copper Dragonborn. Class, Paladin. Occupation, Decisionist. That means he makes all the decisions. Of course, all of them. It's all up to him. He's the leader. Okay. And played by Ryan Hartman. So season 1, Dinar is basically a big dumb idiot who doesn't know anything. He makes rash decisions that for the most part only support his own interests, and it takes him a very long time to start accepting the strange pink beings around him as his comrades. Dinar hails from the eastern ridge of the Sword Mountains and is a member of the Dragonborn nobility in that area, and he never lets you forget it either. His weapon of choice is his sword called Toothbrush. So yes, his toothbrush is named Percival. His sword is called Toothbrush. He also uses his breath weapon where he vomits acid in a 5 by 30 foot beam. Because of the acid, Dinar always carries his toothbrush, which he calls Percival. After they finish the quest, The Raiding Must Cease, Dinar is left to care for a platinum dragonborn egg, which he names Eggy. Later, the egg is returned to its mother where it hatches and becomes the adorable Princess Krenar of Scala. Because of all the time spent with Krenar as an egg, Krenar had become attached to Dinar, so Dinar took over Godfather-type role with her. Dinar also spends a lot of time with the sentient mushroom that lives for a while on top of his head, who he names Cappy. And then once again, here's memorable quotes. God damn. Ryan Hartman might be one of the most funny men on the face of the planet. I'm just saying. Okay. Anyways, so you can just kind of read through here if you want. Keep going. It's a lot. I know. Okay. Because he's fucking hilarious. And then part 2. Part 2. All right. Once again. Perfect. All right, and then I tried to put as much coppery, dragony looking stuff as I could in here, because that's where his pride is. He's, what is that? Oh man, I'm gonna have to go fix some stuff. All right. So last, but certainly not least, is Cthulhu. So I picked this room, like I said, because it stays very dark. And I think that's part of why the lighting is so crazy in here, is for some reason this hole over here just stays super dark. And Cthulhu's room is also not very described a lot. or at all. We know there's going to be tons of books, and we know there's going to be tons of just weird shit. So that's what we got. So first things first, come in here. There's a sign that just says, imagine a dark. just imagine a dark, okay? That's what we got. I got to make sure that my light's not on. Nope, it is definitely off. All right, built a rug. Got lots of books and stuff. So this symbol over here and above the bed and over there, this is the symbol of the which is his chosen deity that he follows. But there's an interloper. There's not a good god that has also decided to get its grasp on Cthulhu, and that's where we get the tentacle god that I put up here just as like a chandelier. Tentacles are fun. So Cthulhu also got a pillow, and it says, oh, come on. Happy holidays. That's all it says. She doesn't apologize. I think she called him an esoteric lunatic, if I remember correctly. Just doesn't need to apologize for that, because it's true. So again, I kept with the tentacle theme. Got more weird tentacle, go away, stuff going on inside the glass over here. If you can see, it's kind of moving and weird. I just tried to make it just look weird in here, dark. With tons of books. And so Cthulhu's book is actually right here. So Cthulhu Draub. And it says, name, Cthulhu Draub, race, drow, class, warlock, occupation, hordes person. He's supposed to be in charge of all their stuff. And played by Chris Straub. And I freaking love that. Cthulhu Draub, Chris Straub, fantastic. All right. Cthulhu Draub is a mild-mannered blue drow who hates Lolth and calls everyone friend. When we first meet him, he is not well. His memory has been wiped, and Dinar mistook him for a vagrant and threw gold coins at him. Love it. Early on in the campaign, he mistakenly made a pact with an evil god. We don't learn the god's name or its purpose in Season 1, so Cthulhu calls it the God of Mouths because he consumes everything, including reality. Cthulhu is obsessed with research and death and the occult. He will often become crazed and frenzied when it comes to any of these subjects. His arcane focus is a chunk of black obsidian from a dark altar, which he found in the Underdark. His true god is called the which he knows nothing about and is in constant pursuit of knowledge of. He uses many different warlock spells and really tries to help his friends when he can. His special spell is called Tentacular Spectacular. This spell causes occult tentacle stuff to burst out of any nearby dead creature, and then Cthulhu must attempt to control it. He can also communicate telepathically with the other group members, which they use like a party line to communicate with each other. All right, so once again, oh God. I almost had to make 2 books for Cthulhu also, but it just wouldn't have fit, right? It's better for Dinar to have 2 books. But just freaking funny. Freaking funny. So there we go. Oh, so here's the Season 3 spoiler alert. I do have to put this in here for when you read it. So if you don't want to read the Season 3 spoiler, don't read this, but it had to be in here for certain reasons, okay? All right, so that's Cthulhu's room. Now we can head down, and I can show you the last thing that I've been saving, which is down here where everybody is playing Dungeons and Dragons over in the corner. So if we go over here, and you can't see it, but they do talk. I have, if you follow the numbers, it just goes, hello, I'm Taco Brahe Penny. So it goes through the whole thing. So 1, and then 2, Dinar Blitzen. Jerry points to Dinar and says, to my right. And then 3, 4, 5. I tried very hard to get them to talk at the right times, but it's impossible. All right, so let's just start with this corner. So we have the food place, Onyx's food place over here, where she continually eats the queen rat. Okay. Over here, well, let's start with Jerry. So Jerry Holkins, when he has dressed up for like different packs things, he's dressed up as a cranium rat. So that's what I made him in the game here. So we have our cranium rat, and Jerry has a book as well. Named Jerry Hulkins or Omen Dran. Race, Jerry is a human or a cranium rat, and Omen is a half elf. Omen's class is a cleric, and of course his occupation is DM Daddy. All right. Jerry Hulkins is the dungeon master and storytelling enthusiast who created the world around the C Team. His storytelling is one of the main reasons to go watch this show, like frickin' for real. All right. So memorable Jerry quotes. You can read through these if you would like. Just pause and there you go. Fucking hilarious. Genius. All right. So, Jerry Hulkins. So, to my right, Dragonborn narcissist, Dinar Blitzend. All right. So, I have Toothbrush over here, or my best as I could rendition of Toothbrush. And then we have Dinar, who is flippin' huge, by the way. Trying to get these house actors, I had to put... If I had him sitting on the bench, his feet would go through the floor because there's no way to like manipulate them as well as I, possibly can. So he's just sitting on books, I guess. Yeah, I tried to make his armor as best as I could. He's supposed to be more bulky, but this is what I got. And of course we have Cappy. Go away. Cappy up here on top of his head. Yay. All right. So to the right of my right, repping the natural world, Walnut Dawn Grass. We have, again, did the best I could with red armor. It was not easy. I think Walnuts was probably my hardest one outfit to find, but I was so happy that I could get Foremother, her green glass scimitar. I'm glad that exists within the game. And I made her Documancy satchel with the Acquisitions Incorporated logo on it because that's very important to Walnut. And yeah, so one thing that she is missing is there's supposed to be feathers in her hair. I don't want to talk about the feathers. They're too damn big, all right? They don't get small enough for her hair, and I'm very sad about that. But there you go. That's Walnut. All right, to my left, not your grandma's grandma, except for in those rare cases where she is your grandma's grandma, Rosie B. Stinger. So there we go. Rosie has this big-ass necklace, like pearl necklace. I had to build that. I couldn't get her braid right, but it is what it is. And her shawl is supposed to be like a grandma's knitted shawl over her shoulders, but the best I could do was this cape. Now the Staff of the Master. I could not find anything. I searched the broker. I searched all over EverQuest to try to find a staff that looked similar, at least similar to the fan arts and different things of what the Staff of the Master looks like. So this is my rendition of the Staff of the Master. And if you're fans of the show, you will understand why I chose this. I cannot say why I chose this on this video because it would give season 2 spoilers. So there you go. Ta-da! Staff of the Master. And that's Rosie. To the left of my left, emerging as though from a mist shroud, Cuthris Straub. Now he's standing because if he sat down, the Cloak of the Stars, or whatever it's called, would go through the bench, and I didn't want that, so he's standing. So a few things with Cuthris. He's got a lot going on, all right? He's the Hordes person. He's got a lot of shit. I have the Lizard King over here as part of his armor set, hanging on there. He's supposed to be underneath his shirt, but couldn't do that. So there's the Lizard King hanging out. I have his focus on the table here with the symbol of the on it. However, that's as small as it gets. So we're just going to pretend that he carries around this giant ass piece of obsidian. Okay. We also have Glowman. Glowman is Glowman. You just love Glowman. Glowman is a dancing lights, but in the form, like humanoid form. All right. I wanted to make Velvet. I tried to make Velvet. I tried 3 different ways to make Velvet. Okay. Velvet didn't work. Velvet got kicked out. Velvet's here. He just doesn't have his velvet on. That's what we're saying. Okay. Right. We're ignoring that. We have his Hordes person bag, which I tried to get a tongue to come out of. Didn't work that way. And last but not least, my favorite character in the show, Ligoti. Sweet, sweet Ligoti. his Cathrissus familiar, which is made out of occult tentacle stuff, basically. It's like crystalline. It's described as like it's crystalline, purple red, kind of like a snake, serpentine-like. Okay, it's serpentine-like. I think he's supposed to have more eyes than what I have on him. But I was following a picture, and then he carries, and God help me if this is a season 2 thing. I'm sorry. I apologize. But yes, eventually Lagoti gets a knife that he carries with him, and he's able to attack with that knife. So there we go. That is everything. I don't think I missed anything. I tried really, really hard to include as much as I could in this house. And seriously, if you have any interest in Dungeons and Dragons at all, you need to go watch this show. I started watching this show before I got into playing Dungeons and Dragons. And this show was actually what made me want to start playing Dungeons and Dragons, because my husband was like, let's start playing Dungeons and Dragons. And I was like, no, that sounds boring. I don't want to do that. So he showed me the C Team, and I was like, and now I'm hooked. We're fucking doing this. It's amazing. So please, please, please check out the show. Come give the house some likes if you're in the mood. That'd be great. So thank you for joining me again today, and we will see you next time. Bye.